Hello, everyone. Welcome to CL Uni-Verse. In our IV's Insights podcast series, today in our second episode, we'll talk about application myths, SOP tips, costs, and scholarships. We have with us Mr. Vishal again, and to share his valuable insights related these topics. So let's get into it. So the first question we have, what are some common misconceptions about Ivy League application processes and admissions? I believe there is a lot of information going around which students and parents alike are confused about.
So, the myths and misconceptions about the Ivy League are immense.
Right.
And I think a successful application depends on your ability to be able to sift out the facts from the myths.
Right.
Okay, and you have to be very careful of the fact about why some myth or some misconception is coming from.
Right.
So the first thing that is happening is that the rates of admission are so low. So let's say if Mayur gets into an Ivy League,
Right.
all his friends will ask Mayur only one question. भाई तूने क्या किया
कैसे
था?
किया?
या तू मुझे ये बता मयूर कि तूने किस कंसल्टेंट के पास गया था?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Now, and I have seen mothers and fathers of students become consultants
Right.
just because one of their children was successful.
Right.
Okay, which is both good. I'm not
bad.
the importance of parents and their nurturing and the way they have planned something out
Right.
is great. But sometimes they don't know the reason why their application was successful, and therefore you need to be look at a variety of stuff. So one of the things that I've heard is कि 6-7 साल का record होना चाहिए.
Okay.
Not needed. 4 साल का record, 9, 10, 11, 12 is more than sufficient.
Okay.
The most important myth that I have seen, if you don't have 97 or 98%, then there is a problem. This is not correct. You need to have good academic record, definite. But that does not mean that if you don't have a good academic record, you will not get in. The third is take SATs as early as possible. In fact, I would say delay the SAT to the level because आप जब 9th या 10th से 11th में जाते हैं या 11th क्रॉस करते हैं और उस समय SAT देते हैं तो आपकी नेचुरल एबिलिटी इतनी ज़्यादा हो जाती है कि आप उसमें बेटर परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं.
Right.
APs, I have seen people who are doing 9, 10, 8, 7, 8 APs. Do an AP for a reason and then stop there.
Right.
Then people say, in दो चीज के बाद, things will move forward.
Right.
The answer is no. You need to have an extracurricular activity record. You need to showcase your passion. You need to show that you are conversant or happy dealing with uncertainty. You need to talk about your failures.
Right.
Then people will come to me and say letters of recommendation. If I'm applying to Princeton, so there is somebody from Princeton I know, can I take a letter of recommendation?
Right.
I mean, yes and no.
Okay.
Those recommendations don't help, and we'll talk about LORs
Absolutely.
later. Then people will come to me and say, only people from top 5 schools or 10 schools in India get into a Ivy League. The answer to that is also no.
Okay.
Right? There are people from tier 2 and tier 3 cities who are getting into Ivy Leagues and
Right.
top colleges. Okay. Then the other part is you need to go attend a US summer school.
Okay.
No, does not.
Yeah, that's a very common one.
It is not necessary.
Right.
It is not even sufficient. Okay, so the idea here is to present yourself well. I can go on from myths to myths.
Right.
If I am studying in a top school, if I've done 3 summer schools, I'm automatically in the race.
Right.
Yes, you are, if you meet certain other criteria.
Right.
But otherwise, these summer schools, these LORs, these top schools are useless.
Right.
Then boards. If you are from IB, you will definitely get in. No, I've seen a lot of CBSE people get in. It's not that IB will not.
Right.
Again, you have to showcase your abilities because this is a holistic assessment process.
Okay.
And that's where
Right.
I would spend time on.
Right, right. So what I understand is that a lot of it originates from misinformation or lack of information from people who've either gone into or their parents as well, as you rightly pointed out. But I think the key message here seems to be the key is planning here.
Research and planning.
Planning.
You should be willing to spend time to research the institute or a set of institutes about their facilities,
Right.
about their alumni,
Right.
about the kind of work they are doing, etc. There is no antidote to that.
Right.
And I cannot tell you. So I cannot tell you this is good for you or that is good for you. I can point you to research.
Right.
वो ना पानी में घोल के नहीं पिला सकते कि ये 5
बिल्कुल,
चीजें करो तो
बिल्कुल।
प्रिंसटन हो जाएगा. That's
बिल्कुल।
not going to happen.
Right.
You have to like Princeton for Princeton to like you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Right.
And that is
Right.
an important part of the whole game.
Right. Also, very interesting point you mentioned that it is not about just starting early. It is about understanding what is the right time to do the right activity for your application. When to take the SATs, when to take the APs, how many, and all of that is very, very interesting. So, moving on, I would like to know about what contributes to a comprehensive, application strategy. Because as you pointed out, that we need LORs, we need SOPs. People might say that we can get an LOR from Narendra Modi. So, is that really going to help me? So that is something that we would like to know. Also, how important it is to navigate, key factors such as interviews throughout the application process, and how difficult it is.
So understand one thing. Let us assume you have a child in class 9.
Right.
And I ask him, beta, do you want to become a mechanical engineer or a artificial intelligence or an ML person, or do you want to do economics? The child is not exposed.
Right.
Right? So the child will start mimicking what he or she is hearing at home or in their own circles.
Right.
So don't try to make a choice in class 9.
All right.
Is what I'm saying. 9th and 10th, do your research, explore your passions,
Right.
and move forward.
Right.
Right? That's an important part of the whole process. Don't target in class 6 that I want to be a computer science from Harvard. Yes,
Right.
if you want to, but it builds unnecessary pressure and expectations
Right.
and directions. Do what you like, move forward, build your capabilities, showcase your passion. Now, how do you talk about an SOP? An SOP is very, very simply a document that allows you to showcase who you are in a holistic manner. It should come from your heart. It should talk about your hard skills and hard achievement, but also what motivates you, what inspires you, where have you failed, right? So it's a document which is customized to you in your writing way. Don't think that, Mayur wrote the essay like this, therefore I need to write it like that. There is no right way of writing that essay. The only good thing about an essay is that it has to be specific and it has to be about me.
Right.
Right? So you cannot say I want to go to Princeton or to MIT because it is a top rated institute. Yes, it is a top rated institute. I want to say that I will go to Princeton because I like A, B, C, D about Princeton.
Right.
As against another college. So it has to come from the heart. A lot of time people will say, "Acha ji, aap mere essay likh do."
Right.
It will be a beautiful essay, but it will not be you. And believe me, people who are reading 30, 40,000
Essays, they know.
They know whether a
Right.
17-year-old has written it
Right.
or somebody else has.
It's a very personal document.
It's a very, very personal document. Same with LOR. Like you said,
Right.
a lot of people come to me and say, मैं इस bureaucrat से, इस minister से चिट्ठी
Right.
लिखवा सकता हूँ.
Right.
My recommendation very clearly for a letter of recommendation is that the LOR has to come from a person who knows you and who knows you in a professional or an academic setting. So somebody you've researched with, somebody who's taught you, somebody you've done theater with, somebody you've done rock climbing with, somebody you've played tennis with, okay, somebody you've gone to a camp with,
Right.
somebody you've done a project with. It does not matter where that person is coming from. If Narendra Modi gives a letter and says that Mayur is a great person and somebody told me about his abilities,
Right.
that letter is of absolutely no use. It's
Right.
not worth the paper it is printed on. It will
Absolutely.
be discarded. Think of an application as a continuum. आपका essay एक part है और LOR दूसरा part है, and both of them need to
Complement.
kind of reinforce each other.
Right.
Right. So if I'm saying I'm a very strong-willed or a whatever, math में अच्छा, but my teacher says he's amongst the average student, then
Right.
then it can't
Right.
work. So that's the kind of way you build
So
it.
LOR sort of validates your claims in the SOP, I suppose.
Exactly.
Right.
And it has to be personal. I'm very clear
Right.
that it has to be personal and specific.
Right.
So don't use formats. I see, another misconception is this is a format of LOR, is
Right.
LOR format ko bhar do.
Right. Right.
No, I mean everybody, like a person writing an essay,
Right, right.
a person writing an LOR is also, writing it in a personal
Absolutely,
way.
absolutely.
So वो जरूरी नहीं है कि वो सब लिखना है, right? So this is another myth
Right.
that I want to break.
Okay. So out of curiosity here, so when there is so much of misconception going on, so much of, information out there as well. So I really feel that having a right coach is also very important throughout the process, I suppose.
Exactly. I mean, having a mentor,
Right.
right? This is my favorite. I make this presentation
Right.
very very regularly,
Right.
and I ask people, if you are Arjun, who is your Lord Krishna?
Right.
Right? Arjun was lucky
Right.
that he had one Lord Krishna to guide him.
Right.
You may not have one Lord Krishna. Find several people who will guide you at various stages.
Right.
But finally, it is your research that will allow you to move things forward in a particular way. Find people, find coaches who you can trust. Right? So there are stories about Swami Vivekananda and Ramakrishna Paramahansa, where Vivekananda tested Swami Ramakrishna Paramahansa with a coin.
Right.
Right? But once you trust a coach or a mentor, spend time with them, get to know, let them get to know you to help you the best. While there is this
Right.
a method to this madness, but the customization and specificity are exclusively and
Right.
extremely important.
Right.
You need to be, the solution has to come for you.
Right.
Right? It is not कि ये एंटीबायोटिक ले लो, ये विटामिन ले लो. It's not gonna work.
Right, right. Interesting. So let's move on with our next question here. So I think a lot of parents out there would like to know this. So Ivy Leagues are, perceived to be the most expensive, I suppose. So the one question is, if you could break down the overall cost of the entire, from admissions to the 4-year journey that a student has. Also, what really makes them so expensive? And is it really justified?
So, let me start with breakdown of cost. So, the breakdown of cost is about $75,000 to $80,000 in any top private university in the US as tuition per year.
Right.
So, multiply that by 4.
Right.
And the living cost for 10 months is broadly about $1,000 a month.
Okay.
In a smaller city, it will go to 800-900.
Right.
In a larger city, it will go to 1200-1300. So.
And also, how frequently do students come back? Because that will be a cost as well.
So, those costs really don't matter in the long term, because आप 2 trip लगाते हो साल में. You
Right.
will come once in summer, once in winter, and
Right.
maybe once. So that is maybe 2 lakh rupees,
Or a couple of $1,000.
Yeah.
Right.
So that is not really. The big cost is this 75,000-80,000 plus 10,000. So you have to budget somewhere about $85,000 a year
Right.
for 4 years.
For 4 years.
And give or take a few $1,000 here and there for private universities. For public universities, it's a separate. So University of Berkeley, which is University of California at Berkeley, is a
Right.
public university, significantly lower than, let's say, a Stanford.
Okay.
So
And
that is
roughly
something
what would be the
about $20,000 difference.
Difference
in
would be
tuition fee, if not more.
Okay.
I don't have
No,
the
right,
numbers,
right.
offhand, but the public university. So Georgia Tech, for example, will be cheaper.
cheaper?
Okay, and so on and so forth.
Right.
So that's where we are looking at. But a ballpark number for planning for a class of 2028 is about 85,000 or so
Right.
per year for 4 years.
Right.
And you will need to show the first year funds upfront. So that's what it is.
Right.
That's where I am.
Right.
Anything on
I mean, in your experience, do you think what's the ROI sort of, and how is it justified really?
So, look, the MBA institutes have made it easy for people to talk about ROI 2 saal, 3 saal, 4 saal.
Right.
Look, an ROI of good education is payable over your lifetime.
Absolutely.
Right, so don't think of it, okay, I will spend $85,000 and therefore I will get a $100,000 or a $200,000 job,
Right.
and I will be able to recover this money.
Right.
Yeah, that's a short-term view. It's a good view.
Right.
But maybe, as a computer science grad in New York, if you get $140,000, or in San Francisco,
Right.
$130,000, your saving is not going to be much. It's not going to be $85,000 a
Absolutely.
year to be able to
Absolutely.
pay this back in 4 years.
Right.
Think of it, the platform that it gives you. Think of it that you are not running a sprint, you are running a marathon. Think of it, will your life be better off with this degree and not, and can you afford it?
Right.
Right, both things are important. Don't go to a top Ivy League university only for the brand. That is the most important. Go there because you value, go there because the passion is there, and go there because you think that university is going to provide you the platform in terms of research, in terms of experience, to be able to do what you want to do. That's the reason you go there.
Right.
You are not going there for a thappa or a degree.
Right.
There are other ways to get a thappa.
Absolutely. So, talking about affordability, so the next question actually is quite relevant. So, what are the scholarship, options, financial aids, and if you could also shed some light on a lot of terminology going around, a financial aid or a need-based, or all these things going on, and how can an applicant really maximize their chances of securing the funding or scholarship, especially for Indian students?
I'll be brutal here, and I'll be very clear. There are extremely limited amount of scholarships for Indian students into top US universities.
All right.
I'm not saying no, but I'm saying if I am in class 9 or 10 and planning to go into a top university globally, from the planning perspective, don't take a scholarship into account.
Okay.
That's step number 1. Step number 2 is, yes, there are scholarships, but they will take you some extra effort and an extra strategy to be able to do it. I have students who've got a full scholarship at Duke, for example, at Harvard, at other places.
Right.
But they are few and far between. Don't think if somebody else got it, you will get it. Not going to happen.
Okay.
You will need to make a case, and these scholarships are very limited.
Okay.
Okay, so full scholarships. For example, Cornell University has these Tata scholarships, but they have limited numbers, and they are over undergrad and postgrad, and they are actually not scholarship. They are need-based aid. So you need to fill a CSS form demonstrating the need to go.
Okay.
Now that is a double-edged sword.
Right.
Right? Do you demonstrate financial aid or need? Or not.
Or not.
Okay, so funding is an important part of this whole game.
Right.
Also, there is this terminology of need blind.
Right.
Right? So some of the universities say that they are need blind, which basically means they are need blind for citizens.
Okay.
They are not need blind for international students.
Oh. Okay.
Okay? And there is a difference of what I have seen in practice about a person applying for need-based aid and not applying for need-based aid.
Right.
Again, I am not talking of causality openly,
Right.
but I am talking about correlation that is there. And as I said, this is a holistic process.
Right.
It is a customized process for you,
Right.
and therefore you have to be careful about what is the need-based aid you can look at. I mean, if you really ask me about need-based aid, most people don't have $85,000, yet they go.
Absolutely.
So there are scholarships that are available, there are loans
They're available.
that are available.
Right.
Think about other options.
Right.
There are interest-free and guarantee-free loans internationally available for top university.
Right.
Think about it. So sit down with somebody and spend 2 years planning.
Right.
It cannot be that you suddenly, have an admission and then you go to your dad and say, let's sell a flat. You may not
Right.
be able to sell it or sell it at the right way.
Right way.
Right. So, think a mix of scholarship, loan, personal funds,
Right.
how you will do it, and do a 3-4 year plan on that also,
Right.
like you are planning for your studies. And this is an important part.
Right.
Most coaches or most consultants
Right.
will say, okay, I'll give you somebody who will do a loan for you.
Right.
Good. They've given you an option.
Right.
But the mix has to be decided by you, not by somebody else.
Right.
And the only way you can do it is through research.
A couple of questions, your insights have really made me curious. So in India, we have, such a competitive, ball game altogether. So we have students, brilliant credentials, exceptional profiles as well. So there is this thing called a merit scholarship as well that they look at. So how often are these, and are they more common or very difficult to get?
So a merit scholarship or a scholarship which is not a financial aid
Right.
comes out of surplus funds
Right.
that the university earmarks every year.
Right.
Right, and it's a year-on-year planning.
Right.
Right, so as I said, Tata Scholarship has been endowed for Indian students at Cornell by Tata.
By Tata.
Okay, there are similar such things,
Okay.
and there are there is this Mahindra, there is this Narendra Saxena,
Right.
and stuff like that,
Right.
which is available, which are not big numbers,
Right.
but you add pieces to reach where you want to go. If you go into a place like Waterloo, for example,
Right.
which has a strong co-op program, then you are able to earn from the co-op. But don't go thinking that 20-hour working is allowed and I will therefore work in a library or at a McDonald's and
Right.
pay my fees.
Right.
Look, the opportunity cost of that is extremely high.
Right.
Instead of working at a McDonald's, you could be working in a lab,
Right.
even for free.
Right.
But that work that you do in the lab is giving you skills, is giving you access to senior people,
Right.
is giving you access to a professor,
Right.
all of whom are valuable mentors going forward.
Right. Right.
They say, a child is raised by a village. It's
Right.
not only,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So find as many people who are willing to give to you.
Right.
And believe you me, this is my personal belief.
Right.
अगर आप सुपात्र हैं, if you are a good receiver,
Right.
the universe is ready to support and give to you.
Absolutely.
So आपकी पात्रता ये दर्शाएगी कि ये यूनिवर्स आपकी हेल्प करेगा या नहीं.
How grateful you are.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Right.
So always be in a mode that you are receiving,
Absolutely.
and always be in a mode that you are not complacent.
Absolutely.
Something or the other will happen.
Right.
Also, these universities, let's say you get into a top university and you don't have the money,
Right.
they will allow you to take a gap year and arrange the funding.
Okay.
They will help you with that.
Okay.
So it's not that कि आपके पास फंडिंग नहीं है और इसी साल अब मैं कहाँ तो एक टॉप US.
So that same admit is valid.
Exactly. You can ask them for a defer
Deferred.
and you can tell them मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है.
Right. Right.
Right? And a lot of universities will be willing to
Right.
help you with
Right.
that.
Right. One final question on the same topic. So, when we are applying for these scholarships, does it hamper my, chances of getting into? As in the admission itself?
So gray area, scholarship, no.
Okay.
No gray area here. If
Right.
you're applying for scholarship, you are allowed to and you should
Right.
seek, even if you have the money to pay,
Right.
a named scholarship on your resume.
Right.
Mayur scholarship for meritorious students
Right.
is great on my resume.
Right.
So you should apply for scholarships.
Right.
The question is of need-based financial aid of CSS profile.
Right.
That's a gray area.
Okay.
And I've heard both sides of the argument.
Right.
I am of the opinion that if you can fund it,
Do it.
do it. And again, I may be biased or whatever, but I cannot give a thumb rule for everybody. We
Right.
sit down on a case-by-case basis.
Absolutely.
And then encourage people to apply. Or
What's the
not
right way to
Yes,
go about
yes.
it? Right.
And I tell a lot of people that don't apply.
Right.
For financial reasons, for academic reasons,
Right.
but also an important thing, you are talking of an 18-year-old
Right.
who's going abroad, and that is
Absolutely.
something we have really.
Right.
This is not the place to cover it, but
Right.
as parent, and this is just one line I want to say. As parent, be cognizant of the fact that your child may not either be mature or independent enough
Absolutely.
to make use of those opportunities.
Right.
Right? So we are sending our child to be a success.
Right.
We don't want him or her
Right.
to be, intimidated by the environment.
Right.
Right? There are opportunities in life, opportunities will come.
Right.
So just don't be in that rat race to send your child abroad.
Right.
And these emotional reasons, I mean, it's a subject of a separate podcast episode, and I'm happy to do it separately, but don't go there.
Right. Right. So, thank you so much, sir. It was an immense pleasure to have, and really helpful insights. I'm sure parents and students alike will really, understand a lot of things and clarify a lot of misconceptions that they might have. So, stay tuned for our next episode where we'll talk about Ivy League admissions, most expensive to the easiest one, and click on the link below in order to get your profile evaluated with our experts. Subscribe and click on the bell icon to get the latest notifications for our upcoming videos. Thank you.